Hey guys, today I've got a selection of clips from a portfolio review with Joana, who makes analog-styled animated illustrations. We talked about the ideal kinds of clients Joana would like to work with and where her style of animation could work well. We also discussed presenting her work in a way that clients can easily understand so they don't have to think too hard about how they could use it. Joana has a very clear idea of her values and what she does and doesn't like, so it's really about making small adjustments so she can attract the right kinds of clients. Thanks to Joana for letting me record and share this with you. If you want to see more videos like this, click the subscribe button, and you can follow Joana at the link in the description and send her some encouragement. Enjoy!
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, good. Hi, James.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Great to meet you.
I've got your portfolio up here and we'll share that in a second, but I guess my first question is, what's your goal?
Ah, I
What do you
wish
want
I
to
knew.
do?
No. Well, my goal is, I guess, for now, to send the message that I am an expert in creating animated illustrations. And I want the animation part to be a very strong part of the illustrations that I create. I would also, with the portfolio, I think I would like to show my ability to maybe animate other illustrators' work.
Okay.
And yeah, these are the two main goals. There is also a smaller goal, I guess, maybe smaller for now, is to establish myself not only as a freelancer, but also a person that has the business aspect of my clients in mind. So I would like this. I'm not sure if I can convey this in my portfolio, but yeah, but this is something that I really think a lot about the business side of the business, I guess, of my client's business. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a great mindset to be in. I mean, your clients, their primary focus is on their own customers, right? So if you think about those, then you're saving them a job. All right. Well, my first impression is this is fun work. I like it. I like the way it's presented. It's big. It's bold. You've got a lot of nice textures in here. You've got a shop here, and in your about page, you've got your own brand, a stationery brand. You've also done an exhibition, and you do some teaching as well. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
That's quite a lot.
It's a bunch. Yeah, I know that. I'm actually, what I'm struggling to do also with my bio, I've been working on this a lot in the last couple of months, is trying to condense the very many things that I do and have one clear message that is throughout. And this is a big challenge for me, actually.
So it says here what you do: animator, illustrator, and educator. You create heartwarming stories for sport, lifestyle, and mental health brands that strive to connect people and make a positive impact on the world. Do you think these animated illustrations tie in with that explanation of what you do?
I guess not really at this point. In this bio, I'm referencing work for clients that isn't incorporated in my portfolio yet. I haven't actually thought of how to describe the work that we will be talking about. Through skateboarding, I discovered kind of animation. That's why it's such a big part of the work I do. But also what I noticed is I get approached by clients from different industries that reference my skateboarding art. And usually what they want is to have a skateboarder or skateboarding figure or image incorporated in what they're working on. And 99% of the time, it's not about skate. Like, their businesses are not about skateboarding at all.
Oh, that's really
So
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, that's I wouldn't have expected that, to be honest with you.
me neither. It's a big
Yeah.
surprise, but that's why, like, this theme keeps repeating itself in my portfolio, actually.
How much time are you spending on developing work for your portfolio?
A lot. In the last few months, it was it's difficult for me to say, but maybe 50% of the time. I've been really working on developing my portfolio these last couple months. I created some works especially for the portfolio, but I also redesigned or maybe pimped some of the work I did before, just for it to be more cohesive.
What do you think your ideal client would be?
Somebody who values art, the artistic feel of illustration. That's why I have some, like, there's a lot of analog feel to the work that I do. And somebody that I'm not focused on one industry, actually. So someone who values analog work, someone who values the artistic feel of animated illustrations, and someone that I can create a good relationship with. Like, relationships are really important for me. I don't think I'm focusing on, I have one industry in mind when I think of a great client.
That's totally fine. What you've described, I guess, maybe leans more towards small and medium-sized businesses, something where you can have a more personal connection with who you're working with.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
maybe also to be able to give a bit more of your opinion and your creative input.
That's a great insight. Yeah, actually, I just wrote it down. I've never thought about that before, actually.
If you've watched any of my videos, you'll probably have heard me say, if there's good stuff hidden away behind thumbnails on your front page, some people might never see it. So you've got a lot of work on the front page here, which I don't think shows that big a range of what you can do. And if I was just here for 20 seconds or something, I'd think, cool, animated illustrations, analog, collage look to some of them, some fashion. So I see skateboarding, sports, fashion, and like collage style animation. If I'm pretending to be a client, what I don't see really is how I could use this work.
Okay.
You're not showing those clients how they could potentially use your work. You're not putting it in a context. If I'm in that kind of world, maybe I'm making skateboard videos and I want some intro titles and I think, well, this is cool, this would work well. But it's pretty niche. I mean, that's a pretty small niche. But I'm wondering if presenting it a little bit differently could broaden the types of clients that would be interested in working with you.
Yeah, that's a great point. When I look at different illustrators' portfolios, I'm trying to think if I can think of examples of how the work could be used. But yeah, I can. It makes a lot of sense. Do you think, like, maybe I don't know, like the first idea that comes to mind, using mock-ups or maybe showing these illustrations in, I don't know, within a website or whatever would help? Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, that is what I mean. Because they're mostly animated, it's a little bit more difficult. I can't say, hey, put this on a book cover or put this on like a product box or something like that, because it's a different thing.
yeah.
And maybe some of it would work like that, but it's not immediately obvious how it could work. If you can define your ideal customer and think about the kinds of uses that they might have for animated illustrations, then you can then begin to show them how they could use it in a context. Maybe that's as simple as a header on a blog. Maybe it's a social media ad. You must follow other artists and animators that are working commercially. What kind of projects are they working on?
The ones that I'm impressed by the most are the ones that work in the analog space. People that design book covers, that design comic strips for magazines. So I admire these people a lot, but then again, it's not something that I do. A piece that I really loved was, I think, created a few years back for MailChimp. These were animated illustrations with a very rough, wonderful style. I loved it.
I know it well. It was really nice to see analog style for a tech company.
Yeah, I love that. I love them. And I first discovered them while using MailChimp for my brand. And I was, whoa, these are amazing. Yeah. And I researched them a lot. So, and something like that, I guess would fit what I am doing. Yeah. And I like what you said, that it works well for for a company that doesn't deal with analog at all.
Now, clearly, those two would be great clients, but they are perhaps a bit bigger and more corporate than your ideal client. Would you want to work for a big client like that?
I'm not sure what that entails. I don't know. I've never worked for a really big client before.
Okay.
I've worked for some small and some medium clients.
Well, I mean, at the one-to-one level, you're working with an art director or a graphic designer or something, so you can still develop those personal connections. But often you get into a situation where they're not the decision makers, so you'll work together on the creative part and have fun, and then the higher ups will be making changes and saying, the more
Yeah.
frustrating decisions sometimes. But using that as an example, how could we present some of your work to them in a way that they would recognize and think, oh yeah, I can use that?
Something that would look a bit editorial. So we have, for example, a blog post with an illustration, with an animated illustration. Yeah, maybe some animated icons that again exist in a like a website kind of surrounding.
Well, this
is
project stands out to me as being an appropriate style for that kind of thing. Maybe if you were to work on something else like this in the future, you could think about what kinds of subjects those clients might like. So often with, well, MailChimp or Dropbox, it's about their users interacting with their software. But maybe the reason MailChimp went in a direction that was a bit more analog is because they wanted to appeal to a wider audience. And MailChimp might be used by independent store owners that want to send out a newsletter every month about new products or whatever. When you think about who MailChimp's customers might be and why they would have chosen an analog style, then you can also start to see what other kind of clients you might appeal to.
Oh yeah, a lot. Thank you so much. I'm taking notes.
But maybe if you were to approach some independent brands where you can build that personal connection and they value the analog art side of it, you could sell your work to them fairly easily. I think if you can show them how they could make use of your work, because some of those kinds of companies, the smaller ones, they won't necessarily think about it. They won't have a art director or a marketing team. Possibly they might be independent. You could pitch your work to them and tell them how it could be useful to them.
I have never pitched my work before. This is something that I'm slowly working towards too. And I'm very, I don't know if scared is the right word, but I am uneasy about it. Definitely.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy to do. So how do you find your work now? Do people find you or do you go out and find them?
People find me through Behance. All my clients come from there, actually, all the bigger ones. And then the smaller ones approach me on Instagram, but I usually end up not working with them because those are more like friendly.
Sure. Yeah, personal projects.
Maybe I'm seeking encouragement here. I had a period some years back where I was into fashion and I thought I wanted to work in the fashion industry. I slowly discovered, I think I quickly understood that it's not for me, but I just couldn't let go of the work that I produced in that short period, or maybe it wasn't that short. And this is not something I want to do anymore. But it's still in my portfolio and I'm thinking, should I be, I mean, I need encouragement to just trash it or put it away, or I like hide it. So I'm not, does that make sense? Or do you think it should stay there just to show a broader context of what I used to work with or I work with?
If a client asks you to do a drawing like one of these, would you do it? Would you want to do it?
Not necessarily anymore.
Okay. I like them because of the the skills you've used. So if you don't want to draw people and clothes anymore, maybe you could, instead of just simply getting rid of them and then not replacing them, because they do show some nice skills and styles. Maybe you could make some new work that uses these skills and techniques, but apply it to something that you enjoy more.
Okay.
And then when you take them off, when you take these fashion illustrations off your portfolio, you're not losing anything. You're just replacing them with something that you'd rather do. Does that
Makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
What was the most interesting thing we spoke about today?
Definitely the thing you said about presenting your work in a way that your client can understand how they could use it or where they could use it. So this was great. This was a great insight, and I'm definitely going to start working on that. And also, I love the question about my ideal client, because I know we should be asking ourselves these questions. And I listen to a lot of business podcasts and art podcasts that talk about it. And even though I have this knowledge, you asked me this question, and I didn't know how to answer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, for pointing these out.
Yeah, my pleasure. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks again to Joanna, and I'll see you next time.